Hello everybody and welcome back to Grandma's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a dessert recipe. I'm going to make Jiffy cinnamon rolls, and they're called Jiffy cinnamon rolls because you don't need to put yeast and let them rise. They just have the baking powder and that's what makes them rise. And it's super easy. 1 second here, got something in the oven I want to check for you. Okay, so yesterday's video I made cheeseburger pie. And just at the very end of the video, my battery died in my camera, so I thought I was filming the results of what it looked like when it's out of the oven. And, you know, nope. So there it is. There's what it looks like. The biscuits on top are golden brown. It's hard to see a little bit. They can maybe brown a little bit more, but it's all right. Now, if you find that your macaroni and cheese inside is a little dry from the oven, just make up another half a batch or so of cheese sauce, the way I showed you in the video, and take the biscuits off and pour it over top, and then it'll soften it back up and bring it right back up. So sorry about that for yesterday's video, but for today we're going to make Jiffy cinnamon rolls. This could have been our dessert for yesterday. So what we're going to start with here is we have to cream. Oh, I need a wooden spoon. We have to cream 1/3 cup of butter. All out of my measuring spoon here, scoop. 1/3 cup of butter. The brown sugar, which is 1 cup packed, so it's nice and tight in there. And the cinnamon, which is going to be 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. So that goes in the butter and the brown sugar. 1, 2, cinnamon's good. I always put a little extra. I like cinnamon. 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay, so we're going to cream this all together. You can use a mixer if you like, but the butter is very soft, so I'm just going to go ahead and stir it. It'll only take a minute. It's less trouble than grabbing the mixer out, getting the beaters, plugging it all in, and turning it on for 30 seconds, which is a minute here is going to take maybe an extra 30 seconds to do it by hand. So I'm going to scrape off this spoon, get all that butter off of there. There we go. So once this is nicely creamed together, it's all mixed in good, nice and soft. It's not going to be liquidy, of course. You don't want it, there's no liquid in it, it's just the butter. It's going to get all nice and melted in together, mixed in together. Clumped up. There we go. That's what you want. Nice. You don't want any crumbs. You want it nice and solid. That's how you know it's ready. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to 1 teaspoon of each of this. We're going to take 1 teaspoon of this, just a flat teaspoon. You want it nice and even. And we're going to put it in each of our 12, the bottom of each of our 12 muffin tins. Just kind of spread it out so it's even in the bottom. This is what's going to be the topping for our muffin. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 12 spoonfuls in and then go back and spread it out. Okay. Now it says that there should be some left over, so we'll see. If not, I can make a little batch. Make another little batch if there's not enough left over. Most of the time there's too much, and then when the times you need it, you know, it's going to have a little bit left over. That's probably for the topping, I'm not sure. I have made these before, but it's been a really long time. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to use my finger because when you use the back of the spoon, it sort of sticks to it. So I'm just using my finger to flatten it down. Maybe the spoon too. Yeah, there. Okay. I don't want it to stick. There, that's better. Now it's going. We've got a little coating on the back of the spoon, so now it's not sticking. So you just want to flatten it out and make it right on the bottom of your muffin pan. We're going to go ahead and keep doing that. One has to be stubborn. It's just going to stick everywhere. There. Okay, so that's what you want. You want that all nice and covering the bottom of your pan. We're going to set that aside. while you're doing all this, you want to preheat your oven to 350 because you always want to preheat it for baked goods. So now to the next step, we're going to take the large bowl and we're going to combine flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. So it's 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, so 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So 4 teaspoons is 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon, so it's a tablespoon and a teaspoon. You can measure out 4 teaspoons if you like, but why, go with the extra. So 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, and then 1 more teaspoon. That's your baking powder. Sugar, baking, and the salt, it's 1 teaspoon of salt. Using my shaker here instead of getting the box out because it's just as easy, and that goes. That's that. So we're going to mix this together. Get all the baking powder all nicely incorporated. This is what's going to help them rise. Like with usual cinnamon buns, you have to make a yeast dough and let them sit and rise for an hour and cover them and punch it down and do it again. That takes a long time. It takes a couple hours out of your day in between. So we're just going to do it the easy way. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so now we've got that. So now we're going to cut in 1/4 cup of butter or margarine until it is fine crumbs. Just like I did on yesterday's video, if y'all were watching, you cut in the flour and with the pastry thing to make it like I did for the biscuit dough when I made homemade biscuits yesterday. So using your pastry blender, this thing, or 2 knives, crisscross back and forth, you just go, same thing, you just go round and round. And this is just going to make your dough. Every so often tap it and get the clumps of butter and flour that are stuck on the blades. And keep going until it's all nice and crumbly. You want it to be real small, fine crumbs. That's how you know the butter is all nicely mixed up and everything's nicely incorporated. And there I go spilling. I'm such a sloppy baker, let me tell you. I have to clean up extra when I'm done. Okay, so you see how it looks nice and crumbly. I hope you can pick that up. You can see the little bits of butter in there, the little chunks. That's where the butter's mixed in. And the flour, I'm just going to give it a bit of a stir to make sure all of it's done right on the bottom. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to shake it flat. We're going to make a well in the center. This is basically like we did with the biscuits too. And this is what you do with rolls. You make a well in the center. And we're going to pour in the milk and stir to make a soft dough. So this is all the ingredients that it is. It's flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, butter, and milk. And then the topping is margarine, brown sugar, and cinnamon. You can use raisins if you like at the last step. I don't happen to have any, so therefore I'm not going to them. But that's it. That's how easy this is. And if you've ever seen a recipe for cinnamon buns, like I said, most of them call for yeast. So you do all your mixing, you let the yeast set, you mix it all in, you get it all incorporated, you let it rise till it's double in size, then you make your rolls, then you have to let them rise again once you punched it down. This way, there's none of that extra going on. So that's our dough. And it is quite of a wet dough, because that's okay though, because what we're going to do is we're going to put, now it says if it's too wet to use a titch more flour, so you have to pour this out onto a floured board, but I'm going to add a little bit more flour just because it's a little too wet. It would be really hard to roll. It would stick to everything. So there, see, sometimes you have to add that little bit extra. The milk, maybe it wasn't more than a cup, but just sometimes, I think sometimes too, if you're using margarine instead of butter, like a block, you're using the tub margarine instead of a block of it, where you can cut it up. That makes a difference. It's a little bit more liquidy. It makes it, the batter a little bit more liquidy. So we're going to put that ball of dough right down on our counter. Get the bowl out of our way. And we're going to take this on a nicely floured bowl here, our board, or counter in my case, and we're just going to knead it. We're going to bring it towards you and push. Turn it towards you, push, turn, toward, push. You're going to do this 8 or 10 times until it's not sticky. You want it to go back on itself. I'm just going to add a little bit more flour. You want it to spring back when you touch it, and then you'll know that it's nice and kneaded up together. When I push it down and you see how it goes right back, makes itself a ball, and you see it moves all on its own. Your dough is not possessed. It's supposed to do that. It's not a ghost in there that's making your dough move. I mean, getting on to Halloween, you know, people think, oh. Okay, so there is your ball of dough. Look at how pretty that is. Nice and smooth. And you see how it moves? That's what you want. You want it to go right back in on itself. So what we're going to do now, we're going to throw down a little bit more flour because we're going to go and roll this out. I'm going to move my camera back just a little. Sorry, my arm got right in the way there. We're going to move that back so I can have room to roll. Okay, so what we're going to do, now we got it all nicely kneaded and flour coated, we're going to roll it out into a nice rectangle. And it's very, very, very soft dough, so it's super easy to roll. I usually have to go this way because all my things are up on the counter, which I usually move when I'm doing something like this, because just to give me the room. So we want to make it 1/3 of an inch thick and 12 inches long. So let's just get the measuring tape here. I just use the basic sewing kit measuring tape, and I leave it in my drawer with my baking utensils, because there's times when I need to measure things like this and getting it in and out of the sewing box. So this stays there. So 12 inches, that's a little bit too big. So we're just going to scooch it back. Just push it back a little bit. It was too long. You don't want it, I mean, you can have it a little bit longer. That'll just give you an extra thing, but I've only got one muffin pan ready. So there we go, 12 inches. It's a little over 12. I'm going to just scooch it up a little. So what we do now is it's nice, and we're going to do that. And now we're going to, our leftover cinnamon sugar mixture that we put on the very bottom, that's what we do with the rest of it. We're going to spread this all over the base here, all over our dough. I'm just going to take it, it's just kind of like spreading it with, you know, peanut butter or just butter. It'll spread. I'm going to probably have to make a little bit more because it's not going to cover the whole thing. Maybe I put a little bit more than a teaspoon, I think, in each one. It seemed like it was only a teaspoon, but that's okay. It'll take 30 seconds to make a small little bit of it. I'm just going to get a small bowl. Sometimes it comes out too much, sometimes it comes out not enough. It doesn't really matter. It's not that big of an issue. Just take a little bit of brown sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. I'm not even measuring, I'm just dumping it in. Think, yeah, that looks good, you know. And a little butter, and stir it up. Just mix it through just like we did before. And then we're going to spread it onto our pastry here. Come on, mix in. It gets stuck to the back of the spoon sometimes when it's just the butter, when it hasn't got a hold of the sugar yet, to make it pasty. You kind of want it like a paste. Oh, there, see, quick and easy. There, and we're just going to spread that onto our dough and take our knife and spread it out. We want pretty much the whole thing covered. You want as much of it covered as you can, because that's where your flavor is coming from. And like I said before, you can put raisins in this if you like. I'm out of raisins. I was shopping yesterday and I really didn't have any plans to make this, so I didn't buy any raisins. It's okay. They're good without raisins. We're just going to keep spreading it till it's just about covered the whole entire. You don't want big thick globs of it where it's strong. you know, you bite into a strong taste of cinnamon, or although it's good, but you don't want just a big harsh bite of cinnamon or the brown sugar. So mix it all in as you're spreading. And there, you see how quick and easy that was. It spreads just like butter on there. Nice and easy. There we go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is roll it up like a jelly roll. So that's, you're going to take it and just start at your wide end, the one end closest to you, and you're just going to roll it. And it's sticking a little bit to your counter. That's okay. If it sticks too much, just add a little tiny, just rub it a little bit with flour. But it's usually, it'll go this way. If it is a little bit sticky, it'll stick to itself. And then bring it a bit towards you so you can get this end. Now you want to take it and give it a stretch, and stretch it and push it down so it's right on in there. You don't want, you want a seam, but you want it to be, you pinch it a little bit so it doesn't come apart. You don't want it to come open. So now, easy peasy, you get a sharp knife and you cut this into 12 slices. So you can measure it, you know, and then do the math and see how many inches to do. So this is a little bit longer than 12. This is actually, by the time I rolled it and everything, it turned out to be, we're going to scooch it back together. Because when it's rolled up and it's 12 inches long, then you know to make 1-inch cuts. Somehow that got a little bit longer by about 5 inches or so, a little bit. So we're going to just squish it. That's what's nice about this dough. It's very easy to use. So there, we're back to 12. So then you can use leave your measuring tape here and just make marks every inch, because you know that it's 12 inches. So, and you're getting 12 pieces, so you know you cut them at every 1 inch. And there we go. And then go ahead and cut right through. Now I have to laugh at this part of the recipe because it says to put them in your cookie sheet, in your muffin pan rather, cut side down. That's okay for the first piece and the last piece, but when you cut it here, where's cut side down? They're both cut sides. So I'm not too sure why they put that in the directions. Every cinnamon bun recipe that I have, it says that. Cut side down in muffin pan. Well, once you cut it, they're both cut sides. So we're just going to go ahead, and that's what you do. You put one at a time, and you place it in your muffin pan. And remember, you've got that brown sugar and cinnamon butter in there, so as it bakes, it's going to ooze on up into your cinnamon rolls. So you're going to have double the flavor because it's inside of itself, and it's going to be on the bottom. It's going to be lovely. And this is very quick, very easy, nothing to it. It's not that hard, not a lot of ingredients, mostly your basic ingredients that you would have at home anyway. Okay, so there. Now that's what it looks like. There we go. Cut side down. Oh, well, they're both cut side, so they're both, the first one and the last one, you can see are cut side down. So now we're going to put this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, and I will come back to all of you in 20 minutes and show you what our lovely gooey cinnamon rolls look like. Okay, so it's been about 23 minutes. It says 20 to 25 and it was 23. So I dumped my muffin tin over, and they come out on the plate like this. That's what they look like because the brown sugar and butter and cinnamon was on the bottom of each cup, remember. So if you look at the tin, I left a couple in to show you. That's what they look like in your baking tin. And when you take them out, they have that real sweet, gooey syrup going on. So I'm going to put this one on the plate. And now the next step and the final step, let me get these guys out. I just wanted to leave those in to show you the difference. They're very hot, and this filling is extremely hot. The sugar, melted sugar. So you put them on a tray or a plate. I've got them on a nice big dinner plate here. And the next thing you're going to do is you take a little bit of icing sugar and milk. You're not making a frosting, you're making a glaze. So you want it really thin, not so much watery that, it just melts away and pours all over everything. But you don't want it as thick as a regular frosting. So I just put some in a bowl with a little bit of milk. And didn't measure. I just put it in there, added a little bit of milk at a time. I did add a little titch too much, so then I just went ahead and put a little bit more of the icing sugar because it was a little bit too runny. Just a titch more icing sugar. Milk came out a little faster than I planned, so it got a little bit too thin. Oh, that's okay. We'll just have extra glaze. There we go. Now we got it. So you don't want it thick like you do frosting, but you don't want it so watery thin that it's going to disappear. This is what you're going for right here. So what you do is you take a tablespoon, after you get it all nice and smoothly mixed, get a tablespoon or a teaspoon, and you just take it and spoon right over top of the top and just let it pour. Just let it flow down. And there you have easy peasy, quick and easy, Jiffy cinnamon rolls. So there you go. And that is all there is to. So again, I apologize for yesterday's video that the camera shut off, but I did show you the results today, what the biscuits look like. I didn't make quite enough for these two. I'm going to stretch it out. So this is my second one. So please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know if you try any of my recipes. By all means, try them and enjoy. And if you have any questions for me, leave it in the comments below. I check my comment section daily. I still haven't had any other winners for the cookie, the peanut butter cookie. I asked what was missing. So if anybody are new here and you go to my channel and you look up peanut butter cookies with a missing ingredient. I did have a winner, but then I decided to extend it for 5 more people. I am making up a booklet of my favorite recipes, most of what has appeared in all my videos. So if you know what's missing, leave me a comment and I put my email in there, and send me an email with your address and I will mail you a copy of all my recipes, no matter where you live. It doesn't matter. It's just a thin booklet, typed pages. So there you go, easy peasy Jiffy cinnamon rolls. You can have those with yesterday's mac and cheese cheeseburger pie casserole. So y'all have a good day, and I'll see you when I see you.